Hello there, I'm Begalius. Christmas music gives me a headache, and it's raining outside and within the game. They call that diegetically in the, in the film world. So this is a video where I'm going to be playing some Call of Duty Black Ops 4 on a map that's relatively new. I'm not entirely sure how new it is because I've been playing so much goddamn Red Dead Redemption, and Agents of Mayhem has just come into the Game Pass. I've been having a great time with that. Shout out to Violition. It's a super fun game, and I might even do a video production about it. But I like this map, man. So I think I prefer it to the original Seaside map or Seatown map, or because I like the lighting on it. I like how it mixes things up a little, and I don't think there are any base night maps in the game, so it's cool to have something a little different. So I want to talk about a subject that has sort of definitely entered the forefront of the internet at the moment, especially with the launch of Fallout 76 and Battlefield 5. And I think sort of contrastingly, we've had some tremendous games this season, and we've had some real letdowns this season. And I think those letdowns form the shape of Fallout 76 and Battlefield 5 respectively. And I think that has raised a lot of questions. Of course, you know, we are going to be asking these questions to ourselves, and we are going to be having reactions in the way that we are because we're on the internet. And I think the internet is the most open for criticism platform of all time. And I don't just mean in regards to a product, I mean in regards to an opinion of a product. We have comment sections now. We have videos talking about our response to a product, and then we have comment sections talking about our response to a product. It's kind of a loop and a spiral and a craziness right now. And I think the question is being asked right now of, as gamers, are we self-entitled? And if you don't know what I mean by that, are we just complaining too much? Do we have too much of a chip on our shoulder? Do we have too much of an issue? And are we just sort of inventing these issues and becoming quite full of ourselves as a response to that because we're just so expectant of something good? And I want to delve into that notion, because I've seen a lot of videos on my homepage and things like that of people sort of provocatively posting these videos about whether or not we're self-entitled. And I even actually I want to talk about someone that I do respect a lot, and someone that I do have a lot of admiration for. And of course, this isn't going to colour my opinion of this person. You know, you can't agree with everything that everybody says, but I do disagree with half of what he said. And if I can remember the other half, I did agree with the other half, but it's hard to remember things when you're talking. But it was Jeff Ramsey. I'm a big Rooster Teeth fan. I love Rooster Teeth. It's one of the only online video production groups that I can actually stomach, because there's so much. And I'll probably talk about this later in the video, but there's just so much, so much self-entitlement involved in videos on the internet nowadays. And I don't feel that with Rooster Teeth and with Penguin Zoe or Critical. And the Axeman, I like the Axeman very much too. But I'm a big fan of Rooster Teeth and of Jeff Ramsey. I'm a big Jeff Ramsey fan. I've been following them for years now, almost a decade. And I love his tattoos, and I love his dick jokes. And I think they're great. But I will say that on his Off-Topic podcast, he had an opinion that I think I definitely disagree with in regards to Fallout 76, where he said that obviously it was a botched launch. Obviously it's a cash grab. But perhaps we're just sort of reading into it too much, and we're getting too angry and too focused, and we're trying to, burn things down as much as possible. And I do think that that's probably not a good approach to things. And it does concern me slightly that people are saying this. And of course you get people, there's always going to be people on both sides of the coin, always going to be people on both sides of the wall. And I can't agree with everything that Jeff Ramsey says, but I do think that this passive approach and this acceptance of things that really shouldn't be the way they are is not a way that we should be approaching things. And I guess to answer my question, are we as gamers self-entitled? I think the answer is yes. I think we really are hugely self-entitled, and I think we should be. I think that we are, and it should be the case, and I'm glad we are. I don't think that we should take this passive approach of, okay, Fallout 76 sucks. Well, let's just wait. Let's just wait for it to get better. Because if we just lie back and accept it, then that's why it happens. That's why it just keeps happening. That's the reason games like, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of hate for this, but that's the reason that games like Fallout and things like that exist and are so popular, is because people just sort of accept things. And I think we should move away from this sort of passive way in which we, view things. But I do think, also, I do think that people tend to fly off the handle a little, and one thing I did agree with him on is that when a group gets together, people just sort of love to have the same opinion, and people sort of love to get up in arms in the same way as everybody else, and there is a sort of positive response to agreeing with other people. And I think the internet really does put a strong affirmation on that notion that people just want to agree with one another, and that makes them feel good because they don't know why, but it just does, you know. And I think that that definitely applies to video games. Are we self-important? Are we, I've forgotten the term, are we whatever it says in the title? Yes, I do. I think we do expect a lot, and I think we should definitely expect a lot. And also, as an extension to that, yes, I think that we complain a lot, and I think that we are very full of ourselves as gamers, and I can't remember what the term is, but let's just say that we're very expectant of things. But dude, take a look around you. Look on the internet. Click off of this video when you're done with it, and look at the suggested videos, or look at the homepage. Isn't everything that way? Aren't we self-entitled? Aren't we all self-entitled now? Isn't the internet just one big hole of self-entitlement? Isn't that just the way things are? And I think that there's a huge onus on gamers to not be self-entitled because it's sort of a medium that not everybody understands. You look at vloggers, and of course I understand that people record their lives, and I don't understand why people watch it, but I understand that people record their lives, and I understand what the process of that is, and because I have a life of my own. But a lot of people don't understand what gaming is and the way gaming works and all of the idiosyncrasies of the gaming community. And I think as a response to that, the natural reaction is to say that I don't get it, so it has to fall in line with the way that I want it to be. And I think that that leads to, you know, notions like, yes, we do expect too much. But I mean, take a look at the internet, dude. Take a look around you. The trend for quote unquote flexing for YouTubers and for the awkward middle class white guys just to make a rap video where they're flicking money at you and 6 figures I was only 4 and things like that. Is there anything more self-entitled than that? Is there anything more self-entitled than a white guy who really doesn't deserve the fame that he has, making a music video telling you that he doesn't deserve the fame that he has, but he has it? 6 figures I was only 4, if you haven't seen it before, is a video where a guy tells you that he had 6 figures. It's a rap video. He tells you he has 6 figures by the age of 4.
She asked me, can I come? I said no, boo. She just said her truth. I ain't even say bless you. 6 figures I was only 4. 6 figures I was only 4.
Now, why should we be impressed with that? Is there anything more self-entitled than telling people I was born into money and hey, you watch my videos and I'm going to make even more? You look at all of these vloggers who give house tours in like a crib style, all of these people who live in mansions. Every video, I like TGF, but they made a video recently. These are people who are salt of the earth, and I don't really like the term salt of the earth either, but these are people who are salt of the earth, just normal dudes who go out and do wacky stunts. And what I love about TGF is that they do what the internet was made for, which is stuff that would never make it onto TV. However, recently they made a video which was, you touch it, you buy it. And there is this slight movement towards, hey, we have lots of money. And I think that this trend is almost inescapable with these awful YouTubers who don't really do anything important. But that's my point. What's more self-entitled than just filming yourself, putting it on the internet and expecting millions of people to buy it and expecting people to buy your clothing line based on you recording yourself and putting it on the internet? We live in the age of the selfie. We live in the age where people take pictures of themselves and not only expect you to look at it, but expect you to respond to it in a certain way. In a way that they want you to respond to it. Dude, that was what my auntie did in the 90s when they come over and they had that slide projector and they show you their holiday pictures that they took with Steve, their husband, who's been depressed for 20 years because he can't stand his wife anymore. And they take a picture of themselves and they show you and you fall asleep because you hate it, because everybody hates it. So why is it suddenly that there's this expectancy that you should give a shit? Outside of the realms of models and just people who, you know, just have pictures taken of them for a living, when did we get expectant of the notion that people should give a shit about the way that we look when we're chilled out eating toast or watching fucking TV or whatever, watching Game of Thrones? Hey, here's a picture of me. When did we get that way? What is more self-indulgent than that? And I think, yes, gamers are very entitled. We are entitled people, but I think we should be that way. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a problem with things. I think Fallout 76, my issue with Fallout 76 was as much about the fact that it was a multiplayer game than the bugs, than just all of that shit. And also, my two biggest issues were the very fact that it was multiplayer and the multiplayer wasn't very good, and the fact that there were no NPCs in the game. Now, I didn't get any negative feedback from Fallout 76, but I'm addressing people who do praise things like this. We should have a problem with these things. I don't think that we should band together, and I will say that I don't post a video where I'm talking negatively about a product when there are already thousands of them. I'm not going to try to jump on the bandwagon of things. I've had issues with things a lot more than I put on my channel, but other people have too. I think it's kind of ridiculous that we live in the age where during the summer, gamers will put in more energy into the fact that they hated a game because they dare put a woman in it than I've ever seen before. I think that is crazy. And yes, that's extremely self-entitled and in a bad way. I think that if we can balance it and say we're not okay with microtransactions, we're not okay with game developers hopping on trends and just ruining it, the gaming landscape for us and for them. If anything, we're sort of trying to help. That's the whole point. We're like beta feedbackers, that's the whole point of a beta, is to get feedback from people. If we're being active with our games, if we're using this platform that we have in order to be active with the games, then surely that's a good thing. We're telling people, no, we don't like this. Yes, we want a campaign in Call of Duty. Yes, we want single player in Fallout. We voted with our wallets already with Red Dead Redemption 2 being one of the highest entertainment launches of all time, and so on and so forth. And Fallout 76 panning and Battlefield 5 panning, games that both focus on multiplayer. So voting with your wallet is a very good idea, and I think it is the best way to get through to the industry, but also use the platform that you have. Be self-entitled, be self-indulgent, be expectant of things. Use gaming in order to allow these sort of inputs to be an output. Don't use it in the rest of your life, but if you have an issue with something, then complain about it. And I'm not just talking about with gaming, I'm talking about with your career, with your life, with everything. Just be self-entitled sometimes.